At this point in the training kit, we're ready to go in and start to add some of the darker blotches to the back of this monster. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Photoshop, and here's where we left off in the last video, creating these lighter areas of the spine. So what we're ready to do now is go in and add some of these darker spots to the overall body of this monster. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to my paintbrush tool, and let's go ahead and open up the brushes palette, and let's try and find a brush that is pretty well suited for making these just little individualized spots in the skin. And looking through these brushes, I really don't see anything that I want. I'm really not seeing a brush that it really is going to be good for the look that I want. Okay, so what I can do is within Photoshop, I can actually make my own custom brush that looks just really any way I want. So the way I can do that is, let's first of all just make a new document. So we can go up to File, New, and let's say about 50 pixels by 50 pixels. Okay, and about 72 pixels per inch. I want the background, I want to make sure that it's set to transparent. Okay, now with all those set, let's go ahead and hit OK. And it should just make you a little bitty document that looks pretty much just like this. Okay, so what I can do now is within this document I can make my own custom brush. So let's first of all set just a base shape. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick my paintbrush tool, and let's go ahead and let's start with just a large brush. Let's say about a 35 looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and make our initial stroke, and let me actually undo that, and let me switch to a hard edge brush. Bring that size up a little bit. Okay, so now we have just a very simple circular brush. Well, now what I can do is use my smudge tool and actually come in here and modify this shape a little bit. So let's go ahead and set the diameter a little smaller for this. And that's still a little too large. Okay, let's oh, looks like I accidentally minimized that. Let's try this again. Let's try, yeah, that's definitely too large. Let's try something a little smaller. There we go, that's better. Let me go ahead and open up the brushes palette and make sure we have made all the necessary adjustments to this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, it looks like it's going to be about a 7 pixel diameter brush, no shape dynamics, and strength jitter set to pin pressure. And I might actually lower the overall strength of this brush as well. Okay, I'll go ahead and close that. And now what I can do is come in here and simply make any adjustments that I need to this overall shape. So what I'm looking for is just a very rough, jagged, somewhat organic shape, really sort of more like an age spot. So what I can do is just come in here and use my smudge tool to make any adjustments to this until I come up with a shape that is pretty well suited for what I want. Okay, so let's say that's close. Okay, so if I zoom out to 100%, you can see this is what this shape now looks like. Well, what I can do is now take this shape and make this into a custom brush. So what we can do is, let's go ahead and select all, or Control A. Okay, and what that'll do is just make a selection around everything that you've got. Now what we can do is, with this selection, let's go up to Edit, and let's define brush preset. Okay, and it's going to pull up this little window, and it's going to show you what the brush looks like, what size the brush is, and then it's going to ask you what do you want to name this brush. So let's just call this something like Age Spot. Hit OK. And now, if you open up the brushes palette, what we should now see is this Age Spot brush ready to use. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and actually start to make these age spots on the texture itself.